Okay, so energy obviously is the main thing. The more energy you have, the more work you're going to do. And the more positive energy you have, the more likely you're going to have a more positive life, because people respond in a positive way. Like, that's just the basis of it. Second is, like, when stuff goes wrong, naturally you're going to be put in like a lower negative energy, especially if maybe somebody else who's already in negative energy, they're acting towards you in a bad way. When I was younger, I obviously used to, like everyone else, I used to get into negative energy. But for me, it affected me for like 2-3 days. I'm sure it happens for other people as well. But I knew I couldn't let this happen, because even a small thing like a teacher would get a bit too personal, like, oh yeah, you're stupid or something like that. Or just something could happen. Someone in school would do something that's a bit too personal, and I'd be thinking about it for 2-3 days, even though it's not that deep, even though other people wouldn't. Maybe, like, when I say other people, I mean like randoms don't care about it. You deep it way too much, and when you deep the stuff that impacted you negatively way too much, it just drains more and more of your energy, and naturally that's a bad thing, because then in other areas you've got less energy to spend. So you need to protect your energy. And usually when something bad happens to me, either it could be a person or it could even be an event. Like, naturally stuff goes wrong, just sometimes. Even if you're 100% positive, you can't guarantee that you're going to get 100% positive things happen to you all the time, because there's other people that are being negative, and when negative things happen to them, and you're next to them and you're just in the same area as them, or you're in the same lifeline as them, and it impacts you as well, you can't think that it's your fault. You've just got to accept it. You can't label it as it being your fault. You've literally just got to take it, move on. And here's what I'm going to say. This is more towards like if somebody is actually trying to get your energy. And when I say trying to get your energy, I mean like they're trying to look for conflict in you. They're trying to argue with you. They're trying to upset you. They're trying to get a reaction out of you. The first thing I remember is that you don't know what they're going through, and you don't know what's happened in their day. You don't know what's happened in their month. You don't know what they're thinking about right now. It's not personal. It might not be personal. It might be personal, yeah, you can't help that. But most of the time, it's not personal. You don't have to think about it like that. Just take it as it's not personal, number one. And then number two is you can't help how they're raised. You can't help how they act. So instead of you blaming, like the worst thing you can do is blame yourself for somebody reacting negatively to you. If they react negatively to you, that's just out of the equation. Like, God has a plan for everything. Everyone knows that. Well, not everyone knows that, but you know that now that I'm telling you. God has a plan for everything. God planned this out. And when I say God planned this out, it's not like he's doing everything to make you a better person, but he's put everything in your path so that you can learn from it. If somebody's being negative towards you, it's not supposed to get you down. God's given you the right amount, or the right scenario, you could say. He's given you the exact right scenario for you to react in the best way possible. Now you're watching this video, this is also part of God's plan. Now you know that when somebody reacts negatively to you, or something happens that you don't like, number one, realize what I just said. What the fuck did I just say? Oh yeah, it's not personal. Number one, it's not personal. They probably got some stuff going on. Number two is that you can't help how they were raised. They're not like, it's not like they're this evil person. They're probably the way they are because of how their parents raised them, how like other people treated them. That's fine. Again, it links back to number one, it's not personal. It's not that they hate you. It's not that people hate you for you being you. It's just that, you know, sometimes they've got stuff going on in their lives. And then the third step to this equation is, actually no, there's two parts to the third step. So I read this in a book called Reality Transurfing, and I'll make a whole ass video on it later on. But there's two things you can do. Either you can visualize them doing well. So when people try to take your energy, it's called a pendulum. I'll talk about this later. I don't want to go into it. But if you visualize them doing well, it kind of like overwhelms them with positive energy. Not even overwhelms them, it just overwhelms yourself with positive energy. You're going to stop thinking of any negative thing and just imagine them doing well. Also, this kind of puts you in like a higher status, like the big brother who's just like taking a loss and smiling, stuff like that. Or like the parent who's like arguing with a child and he just like smiles and says that the child's right even though he's not. Just like that, kind of like diffuses the situation and you carry on with your day. And even though this is kind of arrogant, I guess, now that I'm saying it out loud, I never thought about it, but I guess it's arrogant. Don't think of yourself as above that person. Just think of yourself as removing yourself from the situation by hoping the other person does well. Second thing is, so that's like the first option you can do. Second thing, if this isn't really working out for you, if it feels too fake, which for me sometimes it did, especially when I started trying it out, it felt super fake to me. And also, as you become more positive, these situations happen less and less. I rarely get like situations where people have genuinely tried to like come at me personally. Genuinely rarely happens. Other events going wrong, like payment processes getting taken down, that's completely separate. That just happens naturally. Sometimes it's part of God's plan, just to like test you. You ask to become a stronger person, God will give you stuff to make you a stronger person. Like, but for the situations like where somebody's coming at you personally, number one is overwhelm them with positive. It's actually too late for me to be recording. Number one is overwhelm them with positive energy. And number two, which is the last step, is just stop thinking about them. Now, when I say stop thinking about them, it doesn't mean try to actively avoid, because at the end, that's still energy spent trying to avoid it. It means just stop thinking about it. And you need a certain level of self-awareness to be able to do this. When you see a thought, you can't engage with it. Thoughts come up, you can't control your thoughts. Thoughts come up, and when thoughts come up, typically they're images or they're audio. When I say audio, it's like, you know, sometimes you get songs coming up, playing in your head, stuff like that. So either you're like reimagining the situation and you're thinking, how could I have acted better? You need to stop thinking about that. And when I say stop thinking about it, it's not like thinking to yourself, oh, I need to stop thinking about this. It's literally not engaging with it until it fades away. Try it out next time. And when I say next time, I mean, sit in silence for like a minute if you want, and really focus on your thoughts. Ask yourself the question, what will I think next? As soon as a thought pops up into your head and you don't engage with it and you notice the thought, you notice the actual thought, same way you notice if a fox comes out of the corner of your eye, bang, and you notice it like that. Same way, notice it. You're not going to chase after the fox. Just notice it comes and goes. That's it. When you get it the first time, and when you realize it the first time, you'll realize what I'm talking about. Same thing for negative situations. The more you think about negative situations, your mind doesn't know what's real and what's in your imagination. So the more you think about negative situations, the more it's going to put you in negative energy, as if the situation is happening again and again, and as if more people are trying to attack you personally. Overall, it's just going to drain you. And this 3-step process that I did come up with last night, and I wrote it in our notes app. I was like, oh, it's going to make a banger video and make it tomorrow. Is for you to use. But here's another thing as well. You can't remember everything at once. For example, this 3-step framework, if someone's coming at you and in the heat of the moment, you get angry, you can't blame yourself for not remembering this framework. The most you can do is try your best. Over time, it will build and it will build and it will build and it will become basics. It's just like tying your shoelace. You don't need to think about every intricate blah, 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 blah. You just kneel down, done. And you're thinking about something else. That's how easy it becomes for these frameworks and for these basics. Like, I've got frameworks like this for everything. And when I say like for everything, I don't have it all figured out. I'm just saying I've got frameworks like this for a lot of things, which have just happened because I spend a lot of time thinking about it. Maybe it's just what I think about, just the way I've been brought up and stuff like that, and just my unique circumstances. You've also got unique stuff that I wish I had. But yeah, take this and learn from it and try to implement it. You're not going to implement it every time, but like, subscribe. I need to do more vlogs instead of sitting down channels because it's too late for me to be sitting down right now. It's like 12. Okay, I need to go to bed. Good night. Like, subscribe.